All right, today we're tackling a big one. We're going to break down a pretty in-depth 2025 review of PuraBoost. You've probably heard the name. It's one of the most talked about men's health supplements out there right now. Our goal is to see what this review really says. Yeah, I'm guessing you've seen the name PuraBoost floating around. According to the source material we're looking at, it's really blown up in the natural wellness world. It's making some pretty big promises, too. Support for everything from your energy levels to, well, erectile function. And that really gets to the heart of it, doesn't it? I mean, how many times have you seen a product with these incredible claims? It's a crowded market out there. So how do you tell what's a real solution and what's just empty hype? Well, that's exactly the question this review we're digging into today is trying to answer. So let's be super clear about our goal here. It's simple. We're just going to walk you through the facts exactly as they're laid out in this one detailed review. We're not selling you anything, not endorsing anything. We're just here to explain the source material. All right, let's get into it. Okay, so first things first. Before we can even talk about the results, there are two key things we need to nail down. Number one, what is PuraBoost, at least according to this review? And number two, how did the person who wrote this review even go about analyzing it? What was their method? So the review makes it clear right away that PuraBoost is not being sold as some kind of quick fix. Instead, it's defined as a daily supplement. It's got 9 plant-based ingredients, and the whole idea is to provide this sort of holistic overall support for male wellness, not just to zap one single symptom. Now, this is pretty important for credibility. The review is apparently super transparent about how it was done. The author says they paid for the product with their own cash, no sponsorships accepted. And their conclusions, they're based on digging through over 100 verified user testimonials from 2025, checking up on the manufacturing claims, and even bringing in a certified nutritionist to look at the formula itself. So they tried to be thorough. All right, so we know what it is. Now let's get into the really interesting part, the how. How does this formula actually work? Let's look at the science behind it according to the review. Okay, get this. The review says the entire mechanism really boils down to boosting one single crucial molecule, nitric oxide. If you're not familiar, it's a signaling molecule in your body that's absolutely vital for good blood circulation. And this is how that chain reaction works. The review breaks it down like this. First, an ingredient called L-Citrulline gets converted into L-Arginine in your kidneys. Then that L-Arginine gets to work producing nitric oxide. And what does the nitric oxide do? It relaxes the blood vessels. And that relaxation is the absolute key to improving blood flow, which, as you can imagine, is crucial for erectile function. But it's not just a one-trick pony focused on nitric oxide. The review points out there are other ingredients in the mix to create a more well-rounded effect. You've got Panax ginseng for hormonal support, banaba for sustained energy, and things like pine bark extract for antioxidant protection. It's kind of going for the whole wellness package. Okay, the science sounds pretty good on paper, right? But the real question is, does any of that actually translate to the real world? So, in this next section, we're going to look at what the review says about the actual results people reported and the overall quality of the product itself.
Now, this is really interesting. Check out this timeline. The review hammers this point home. The results are progressive. This is not an overnight thing. The source says users tend to notice better energy and mood first. Then, after a couple weeks, come the more noticeable improvements in erection firmness. And the full, consistent benefits, those apparently show up after about 45 to 90 days of use.
And here's the big number, the headline from their analysis of user reviews. After 6 weeks of taking it consistently, the review found that a pretty striking 89% of users reported experiencing firmer erections. That's a huge number. The review also does this really interesting side-by-side comparison. It draws a super sharp line between PuraBoost and what it just calls generic male enhancement pills. It points out huge differences in things like manufacturing. PuraBoost is GMP Certified, which is basically a seal of quality that stands for good manufacturing practice. Other big differences, the transparency of ingredients, how realistic the marketing is, and whether there's a real no-nonsense money-back guarantee. Okay, so all of this brings us to the big finale, the last section, where the review ties everything together to answer that one question we started with. Is this thing legit, a scam, or something in between? So, according to the review, here are the key pieces of evidence for its legitimacy. They point to the fact that all the ingredients are disclosed, it's made in the USA and an FDA-Registered GMP Certified facility, the marketing claims are realistic, and there's that 90-day guarantee. And here's the detail I find interesting. They even say the fact that there are mixed reviews, not just perfect 5-star ones, actually points to it being a real product, not some scam with fake testimonials. And after all that analysis, what's the final score? The reviewer landed on a 4.8 out of 5. Pretty high. And this quote from the author Olivia Smith really just nails the final verdict. She writes, PuraBoost is not a magic pill, but it is a remarkably honest, effective, and safe natural erection booster. You see, that's the key takeaway right there. It's not positioned as a miracle cure, but as a solid, natural option if you're willing to be consistent. So to wrap it all up, the review gives some really clear advice on who this is actually for. It says it's best for guys over 40 who are looking for a natural alternative, want to improve stamina, and are thinking about their long-term wellness. But who should skip it? Well, if you want instant results, you're under 18, or you're just not willing to stick with it for at least a couple of months, this probably isn't the product for you. And you know, that really leaves us with a bigger question to chew on, doesn't it? This whole review highlights a fundamental choice. Do you go for a slow-building natural supplement or a fast-acting drug? It's kind of a snapshot of a much bigger conversation happening in wellness right now. So which path do you think is the future? It's definitely some food for thought.